You got any cheerleader photos this year, Lee?
Just one.
Oh.
San Francisco.
I've been a troublemaker, I've been a late night player, I've been broke as a joke, I've been a money maker, I've been a record breaker, taking credit as an educator, I've been known to spit the flows and make it shaky, shaky thing, popping, lock and stop and let it hang. Watch us as we drop this hip hop, it's like it stings. We make the whole room drop and everybody sing. We want the funk, we gotta have that funk. We kick it old school, we think we're so cool. We take it back to the past, we gonna act a fool. Up jumps the middle finger, make my yeah.
Hello, 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 and welcome to Sports Buzz, a fanatical view. I am your host, Scott D. Lewis, here live in studio on this October 29th, almost the eve of Halloween, yes. All Hallows-ween. I guess it's the eve of Mischief Night, right? Night,
yeah.
So, and then almost the eve of one Bob Ross Jr.'s birthday, yes. A Halloween birthday. No wonder Bob's so weird. Crazy guy that he is. He's born on Halloween. Anyways, we are here live in studio, and that means the phone lines are open. 203-792-4101 is the number. Yes, yes, very nice. It was warm today.
Yes,
I was driving around with the windows down. Short sleeve shirt back on. That was pretty good. It's cooling off, it seems like, tonight. Yeah. And there might be a little bit chilly for the Halloween weekend. We'll see if
you think it'll be a little chilly up in Foxborough tonight?
Might be. Yeah, probably still a little balmy up there. I mean, it was a pretty good day. It might be a little windy. I'm not sure. We'll see. It's going to be a big game up there. The dreaded Thursday night game, which I can't stand. This week, I tell you, just one night after another with sporting events.
Yeah.
Got to go watching TV every night on these sporting events. So Patriots, Dolphins, we'll get to that later in the NFL. But first, officially, let's say hello to Bob Ross Jr., who might be in a little bit of a salty mood, I might say, after the last two nights. How you doing there, Bob?
I'm doing all right, but I wish my Mets were 2-0 and not 0-2.
0-2. Not so good. Yeah. Not so good at all. Bob's Show Spotlight on Tuesday nights at 9, Wednesdays at 12. Mike Toohey is in the control room running things. His show, Expose Cinema, Friday nights at 9, Wednesdays at 1. Does Mike have a Halloween special? I usually tape these shows for him.
Do you have a Halloween special, Mike? He has one airing tomorrow.
All right, usually pretty good. So tune in Friday night at 9 and see the spooky stories that he will be bringing to you, I am sure. For that, Connor Faco, the production assistant extraordinaire, I thought he was going to come in costume. We get him running out here in some outfit for Halloween, but no such luck. He's dressed up as a production assistant extraordinaire, I guess. He's in there, and not surprisingly, since it is Halloween, we'll get to the Met Maniac in a second. But since it is Halloween, who would return on such a day, on such a week?
Strange Man.
The Strange Man. It's like Yar's Revenge in here. Strange Man has come back. He is better than ever, bringing us shirts, bringing us stats of the week.
Yeah.
Maybe he'll be bringing out a mask of some kind later and scaring us all with his Halloween costumes. I don't know. I think it's either Halloween or maybe it's the fact the Bruins are 4-0-1 and he's officially come off the ledge. Really, we have not seen him since they didn't make the playoffs last year. Now the hockey season's back underway. They win a few games and all of a sudden he's back in action. So that's good to see. And yes, of course, another person probably feeling a little salty after the last couple of nights. Mr. Mike Met Maniac McFadden. How are you doing there, Mike? You seemed more optimistic than Bob.
Yeah, I mean, obviously you would prefer, like Bob said, you would prefer to be 2-0. But the series is far from over. It is.
Well, in the NBA, they always say the series doesn't start until the home team loses. So that hasn't happened yet.
No.
Home team held serve, and now you guys get to come home for the middle three games of this series. Citi Field, we know, will be rocking all weekend long, starting tomorrow night. So yeah, I mean, it's definitely far from over. He had to be feeling pretty good there in game one, 9th inning with the lead, and your man Familia on the mound, who hadn't blown a save since July. And then all of a sudden, with 1 out, Alex Gordon goes yard deep, center field shot. What was your guys' reaction to that? Yeah, exactly.
There's no comment.
No comment. Nothing that's fit for air, probably.
Well, the thing about that, Scott, is, and it's been kind of a Met problem the whole season, when they get a lead, it's these, which there's things called add-on runs. That's the one thing they need to do is, tack-on runs.
Yeah.
And that's the one thing they haven't been able to do, and they had opportunities in game one actually to do that. Had they done that, that would have taken some of the pressure off Familia.
I mean, I know, I personally started to feel a little salty myself in the 8th inning when the Bill Buckner moment happened, and Eric Hosmer, the Gold Glover, boots that ball down to first base that allows the Mets to take the lead 4-3 in that 8th, which, by the way, the last time a team took a lead in the 8th inning or later in a World Series game was 1986, when the ball gets through Buckner.
Yes.
And that's a hit. The Mets won that game. So, there seemed to be some symmetry here as they're back in the World Series. That play happens, gives them the lead. And there we see another strange thing that happened in this game. What about the delay that they delayed this game because Fox broadcast went out? As we see Joe Terry there talking to the umps. I personally was shocked that they actually held the game up until they could get the broadcast back.
Yeah, and then they had to go from the overseas to take over because they didn't have no feed.
That, to me, was
unbelievable.
I didn't think that was the right thing to do. You cannot mess with the flow of the game. The players have to continue to play.
Right.
You got pitchers sitting there waiting, and their arm could be getting tired. They're in this normal flow of the game.
Yeah, they kept going back and forth to the Fox studio for,
because Fox loses its feed, they have to stop the game. That was like a 10-15 minute delay. That was interesting. But back to the actual game. So some interesting things that happened in this game. We had the error in the 8th, which was the symmetry with the Buckner moment. And then Hosmer was able to redeem himself after they tied it in the 9th. He comes in with the sac fly to win it in 14 innings after David Wright ends up committing an error, which really proved costly there. Ended up loading the bases. Bartolo Colon was trying to do yeoman's work. 3 innings, right?
Yeah.
And he was undone by the error by Wright, and then the sac fly was the final straw. Harvey was actually pretty good. I mean, but the start of the game, how about this? First time since 1903, a World Series game began with an inside the park home run. Unreal that happened in that Alcides Escobar. But this was the biggest question, and it happened on the first pitch. Escobar is known for being a first pitch swinging hitter, leadoff batter. He swings at the first pitch almost every time, no matter where it is. So why would he groove a pitch right down the middle of the plate for him to drill? And then this is the other question I've had, which I haven't brought up on the show yet. I don't think I've mentioned it to you guys. I have been surprised as I've seen the season go on, the times they decided to put Cespedes in center field. He has a great arm, which makes his defense, above average rating go up, because that, solves a lot of problems. But I don't think as far as range goes, especially when you're talking about a cavernous field like Kansas City has, huge center field, he is not the guy to be out there roaming center field, to track these balls down. And he clearly missed this ball off the bat, had to try to find it. And then as he's in his 5 steps or so coming down to track it down, you see he takes 2 steps at least looking at the left fielder coming at. So he's concerned about a collision, and he backhands at it. I thought they easily could have labeled this an error.
Right.
I'm not surprised. I'm a little surprised that they did not. Maybe the guy doing the scoreboard card there, home cooking there, wanted to give his guy an inside the park home run. But I don't know. I mean, why have they chosen to do that? When you have dominating pitching like they have, I think it's imperative to just put the best defense behind that pitching. I mean, have you had any questions about them using Cespedes in center field as the season's gone on, and then in a big spot, obviously Game 1 of the World Series?
Well, I think that the reason they did that is I think they like Conforto's bat better than Lagares's. And I think that's the reason they did it. But like you said, after that play, the next game they switched back because they realized, listen, with a field this big, we need better defense. And so
Lagares ended up getting that hit that Hosmer botched that was ruled an error in the 8th inning, right? He was the one who hit that hot shot down to first that scored the go-ahead run. I don't know. I think you just have to line the best defense up there. You figure with your pitching, you're going to try to be winning low-scoring games. So any run could prove costly, and that could have proved costly. I mean, Harvey, after that, he did retire 11 in a row at one stretch in this game, but in the 6th inning, not long after that delay, he did give up 2 runs. That ended up tying it after the Mets had taken the 3-1 lead, and then they did come back and take that lead. So Game 1 was a wild affair, 14 innings, 5 hours and 9 minutes, longest game in quite some time. So some interesting stuff. How about Chris Young, who was with the Mets for a little while, right? Right. He ends up being the winner. He was supposed to be Game 4 starter. The Royals will have to shake up their rotation, I would imagine, at this point. And then the other thing about Game 1, the starting pitchers for the Royals, Edison Valquez, and it's still unclear as if he knew this before the game started or if he was notified after he came out. But his father passing away in the afternoon that day of the game. And they did not announce that during the game until after he came out, and they were fully aware that he was notified in the clubhouse. But social media was picking up on it, and they were spreading it around as the game was going on. So it was unsure if he knew, and I don't think there's been a story saying yet if we know or not that he did. Last night, I know you guys were looking to see DeGrom, who's been the best guy so far for the Mets, come through for you. He wasn't quite able to do it, but really the story I thought was Johnny Cueto, who a lot of people thought was not going to pitch that well. They apparently were not paying attention to his last outing at home in the playoffs against Houston. He retired 19 in a row in that game. You might want to overlook the Toronto outing in Toronto and say, well, he is capable of pitching well in a big spot in the playoffs. He did it against a good hitting Houston team just 2 weeks ago. And in last night's game, he retired 16 of the final 17, 2-hit, complete game shutout. And that had to be just bitter for you guys watching that go down as the game ticked on, and he just kept going and mowing guys down. Yeah. I mean, that couldn't have been pretty for you guys to watch. All right, some interesting stats from that. First complete game by an AL pitcher in the World Series since 1991, Jack Morris. You'll remember in Game 7 as he did it for the Game 7 clincher against Atlanta for Minnesota. And the 2 hits was the first time since Greg Maddux gave up 2 hits in a 9-inning affair in 1995 for the Braves as well. And Jim Longboard, Boston pitcher in 1967, was the last pitcher in a series game to have less than 2 hits, 1 hitter against St. Louis. So interesting stats out of that. We have some stats of the week that we will get to from Strangeman as well. Those are part of it. One of his stats also, the last Kansas City pitcher to pitch 2 hits or a complete game, in a World Series 30 years ago when the Royals last won the World Series. Brett Saberhagen doing it in '85.
Met too.
Absolutely.
But we talked about this going into the series. It was going to be a lot different for your pitchers facing this Kansas City team that is a contact hitting team. They're not a power bunch, although they can hit the home run. The Cubs, we know, are all or nothing. Worst team against fastball pitching in baseball. They struck out over, 500 times or so? Yeah. Ridiculous amount of strikeouts. I think they led the league. And the Dodgers team, we know, has nobody that strikes fear in anyone in their offensive lineup. So Kansas City is a move-the-chain team. Get that lineup going up and down. Keep guys mulling through. How about this last night? DeGrom, who we know pitches 98 to 100 mile per hour fastball he's throwing. Only 3 swings and misses on the entire evening for the Kansas City team that makes contact all night long. They fouled 23 pitches off out of his 94 total. On the season, they were the best team making contact, only swinging and missing at 19.7% on the whole season. So we talked about that, how it was going to be a different deal. You weren't just going to be able to blow heat by these guys. You're going to have to pitch. And Harvey, to his credit, said that he knew that going in, and he was going to have to try to do it. But your guys' hitting is not getting it done to offset whatever they're doing with their contact hitters. Mets batting so far in the first 2 games, 165 with only 1 extra base hit.
Well, hopefully we'll come back this, 3 games. We have a lot.
Of course, you got a lot to go. So they end up winning that game 7-1 to take the 2-1 series lead. Let's get to the strange man stat or stats of the week or strange things that happen. Full moon on opening game 1. Full moon game 1. So that was a strange thing that led to possibly some of those strange things happen. Fox broadcast goes out. You got the inside the park home run on the first pitch to start the game. All right, here's the real stat of the week from Strange Man. However, 51 teams have gone up 2-0. 41 of them have gone on to win the World Series. But just when you think that sounds bleak, not so fast. He comes through with some more stats. All right, in 1985, 30 years ago, Kansas City lost the first 2 before coming back, and they lost the first 2 at home and winning the World Series. And then, of course, you guys would know all too well, as would I. Speaking of feeling rather salty, I was 86 with my cigar in hand. Yeah. Don't ask me how, as a 16-year-old, I had a cigar ready to go. In 86. Yeah. But I did, and I never got to light that cigar because 29 years ago, the Mets lost the first 2 games of the World Series to the Red Sox, also at home.
Yeah.
And then they went on to win 2 of 3 in Boston, came back in Game 6, and we all know what happened. And then they went on to win that World Series. So they, Kansas City and the Mets are both 2 teams that have been down 2-0 and come back. Yeah. So all is not lost. How do you guys feel heading into the weekend? You get a day off to lick your wounds a little bit. What do you feel is going to happen this weekend?
Well, you got to figure we got 2 more good pitchers going.
Syndergaard going tomorrow night versus Yordani Ventura,
and probably Mats will probably go.
And then Mats will go on Saturday, correct? And we don't know who Kansas City is going to go with because their guy pitched already.
Yeah, well, he's got, and you got to figure they have to hit. There's no DH.
That's true. There is no DH. I think that Kansas City, of all the American League teams, will be a team that isn't affected as much by that because most teams have a power hitting DH. Yeah. They're more of a contact hitting team, as we know. But I don't know. McFadden, what do you think over there?
I think it has to be a change in the pitching philosophy. It goes back to what you said in reference to Harvey's first pitch to Escobar. Oh. If you know the guy swings at the first pitch,
report?
Exactly. Yeah. Why would you groove a fastball straight down the middle of the plate? And I think that's kind of the problem that DeGrom had last night. If you remember, after the first 2 guys got on in the 5th inning, you get up in the account, I think he was a 0-2 or 1-2. Right. And instead of throwing the ball off the plate or out of the strike zone, what does he do? He throws it down the middle of the plate, and what happened? They get a single.
At that point.
So I'm hoping that Dan Wathan, sits the pitching staff down and says, listen, you don't have to throw strikes every time. If you want to throw fastballs, okay, that's fine. But you have to locate the fastballs if you throw them because this team is a different animal. You have a team of guys that are basically the same type of hitter. You can put Escobar, who's the leadoff hitter, he could be put in the 4th spot. He can be put in the 5th spot. That's what makes this team so difficult. They're a team where every guy, you have to basically pitch the same way. They don't have, and I was just mentioning to Bob earlier, if you remember in Game 1, they're a team that's opportunistic. Alex Gordon didn't really go look for the home run. He went for the home run because that's what the team needed. That's what they do. They look for what the team needs at that time, and then they'll go for the defense.
Amelia, who goes from killing it to maybe a little bit shaky. You wonder if his nerves are going to be a little bit problematic going forward if they get back into that closer spot. The other thing I mentioned last week, I was concerned about Terry Collins using him for more than 3-out saves. And I thought because they had a break, because they swept the Cubbies, that he would be fine in game one, even if they went for a multiple inning save. But it came up right there as they tried to get 4 outs from him in that first game. And then obviously it did not work out all that well. Some other possible reasons for McFadden to feel salty this week. How about that football game on Sunday there, Mike?
The Jets.
Close game,
Scott.
tight game.
Yeah.
3 plays, and you know what I'm going to refer to.
Which ones you got?
Wilkerson had a chance to get an interception, if you remember that play.
Yeah.
What Marshall was looking at when the ball hit his hands.
Could have put them up by 8 instead of 4.
Exactly. 3rd and 17.
Late in the game.
Yes.
And the 3rd and 17, hell of a catch by Amendola, who had an amazing game. Amendola was really a key in that whole game, for the Patriots. I knew this game was going to be tough. I had a feeling the Jets, I've been on the Jets bandwagon. I say they got a good team and they played well. But, once again, I don't know. As a Jet fan, I just feel like I don't think, the coach, speaking of salty, he was in a bit of a salty mood. He didn't seem to want to take any moral victories out of this. And I thought he kind of messed a couple things up late in that game. He didn't call a timeout at a crucial spot that cost him some time. And then I really was shocked that they ended up kicking the field goal and getting the onside kick, but there was not that much time, and it was a 55-yard field goal attempt. I was like, really? Is he trying to cover the point spread, or is he trying to win this game? Does he got a bet on the side?
He might have had something on the side.
What's going on there? That was a little bit surprising to me, and they clearly did not have enough time to, even after they got the onside kick, to end up trying to get it in the end zone. So I thought that was a little bit interesting. But the Jets did play well. The Patriots, abandoned the running game. Deion Lewis, my namesake, who has been a nice surprise for the Patriots this year, he was out. So their rushing attack was a little bit iffy, and they're having issues with their offensive line with some injuries there. So, Brady leads the team in rushing in this game, which wasn't very much, but he did have a couple good scrambles, and he did go over the top for that QB sneak touchdown. But they threw the ball, 55 times, I believe? It's so crazy, the way the Patriots can win these games by abandoning one complete portion of the game. They know you're going to pass, and they still execute, and then the touchdown to Gronk that really sealed it for them on I guess you'd call it a missed assignment, but it was a great heads-up play by Gronk, who showed off his football IQ by leaking out because he was in pass coverage, and he gave a little bit of a nod to Brady as he let his guy go and just leaked out, and there was nobody around him at all after he gave up the blocking assignment, and Brady saw it happening, and he walked into the end zone pretty much untouched. And that wrapped it up 30-23. Patriots win that game. Patriots tonight against the suddenly resurgent Dolphins with their new coach, Dan Campbell, going primate on everybody. Just the tough guy that he is, changing things up. I'd say let's pump the brakes a little bit on the Dolphins situation here, as everybody's like, are the Dolphins for real? Who are the teams they beat? The guys coming out of that division that we know is the expansion division. They pounded the Texans, maybe the worst team in football, and they beat up on the Titans the week before. Not the top 2 teams you want to really be gauging yourself, but for the Dolphins, who have been struggling, it's good for them to get 3-3. They will face the Patriots tonight, who remain undefeated. Another stat of the week, don't forget, Brady's 16 touchdowns. And also an interesting stat, which could be a jinxing situation. I heard this from another friend of mine before I came into the show. Patriots 8-0 all time on Thursday nights.
Oh, yeah?
And now Tui wants me to get salty during the middle of the show.
Wow.
My main man, Roger Goodell, bringing up the Deflategate again, as the NFL will not go down easily. The lies spewing from this man's mouth, they're unbelievable. They did an investigation that said clearly, after 260 pages of reading, the Patriots and Brady did actually, there is no proof that anything was done wrong. We just kind of maybe think probably there was something done. In this appeal to the courts, they go on record as saying that Brady was part of the situation. He lent a hand to the whole thing. That is do it. You had to go and do it. He put the picture up.
Yeah.
Unbelievable.
Well, I had some good news this weekend.
Oh God, the NFL. Unbelievable.
I know.
What do you got there, bub?
Oh, the Giants won.
Giants won, squeaked by the Cowboys.
Boys.
You can't be impressed with that 27-20 victory over
Yeah,
a
but-
team that stinks and has half a roster. Come on, kick return to win it.
Yeah.
Give me a break, Bob. You're 4-3. The only reason you're first place is because the
rest of the-
Redskins haven't won enough games. I'm predicting right here, right now, the Redskins are going to win that division, and that would be a shamockery of all sorts. We're running out of time. And well, I was watching some horror movies last night, and we can't see his face. Jason has come through. All right, I got some other things I want to get to, but let's.
Hey, we got Superman out here too.
Alex Rodriguez and Pete Rose, A-Rod and Pete Rose. I mean, what is Fox thinking? Speaking of getting me even more salty. Unreal. What, A-Rod and Pete Rose have to do the pre-games?
Yeah.
All right, we don't have enough time to go through all the football stuff I wanted to because I got some other things. How about UConn getting trounced at Cincinnati? Cincinnati, not in a bad place, though, to go. They look like they had a pretty nice stadium out there. As I sometimes wonder about taking road trips around the country, maybe a road trip to Cincinnati, check out some of these places, but they pounded them in the rain. Cincinnati crushed them, 612 total yards, two bad losses in a row now for UConn, falling 37-13. Clemson jumps to number 3 after they beat Miami 58-0, which led to the firing of Al Golden. And then we mentioned last week AAC has some teams doing things. Temple remains undefeated. In the big game of the week, they are number 21 going against number 9 Notre Dame in Temple. That's one to watch. I will watch that game.
How is your CSI doing?
CSU.
CSU.
They're on a bye week. They had a very big win against Air Force the week before that we didn't mention. NBA got underway last week, and I will take this opportunity to mention another namesake of mine, rest in peace Reggie Lewis, but Isaiah Thomas, first player to come off the bench since Reggie did it and score more than 25 points in game 1 of the season. So that was nice. Celtics win. Knicks won last night. Bruins, we mentioned 4-0 and won their last game. Bad news, however, on the local New England scene. MLS playoffs got underway last night.
Yeah.
And the MLS, last time we talked about the Revolution, they beat the Red Bulls for their 6th straight win. They went lousy down the stretch, losing 3 of their last 5, which dropped them to 5th place into the elimination round, 1-game playoff. Ouch! They lose 2-1 in D.C. to D.C. United last night. So last year's run to the MLS Finals will not be duplicated by New England. What am I going to do? I can't watch the MLS playoffs. They're out before it even started, basically. 1 game and done. Speaking of done, I believe our time is up. Happy birthday to the Halloween birthday boy, Bob Broad Jr. Maybe his Mets will be making him less salty over the weekend, and he will be enjoying it. All the trick-or-treaters out there, have a good time. Stay safe. I know I'll be doing some fun things this weekend, getting down, getting funky, all that stuff. Happy Halloween.